Hello and welcome to the second of these videos. I'm going to be going over the differences between distance and displacement. So what is distance and what is displacement? To see the differences between the two, I think it's best to consider an example. Imagine there's a person and a bird, each trying to get to the top of the same mountain. Upon going up the mountain, the person will take a long-winded hiking trail. They'll crisscross along the face of the mountain, allowing them to take a less steep journey. And along their way, they will see mile markers, which will contain values that will give numerical approximations for how long left they have on their hike. These values on the sign are distances. Why are they distances? Because they are scalar values. And that's the important thing to remember about distance. Distance is a scalar quantity. So let's say the distance of this entire trail, accounting for every bend in the trail, is 10 miles. 10 miles. Just confirming, this is a scalar quantity. Why is it a scalar quantity? Because you have a numerical value, in this case 10, describing the magnitude of your unit, in this case miles. But what about displacement? Now imagine the bird is flying up the mountain. In this case, the bird is going to start from the same position, but it's going to fly in a straight line all the way up to the top of the mountain. In this case, the total change in position is the same, but the magnitude of the journey is different because they took a shorter journey. This is what is known as a displacement vector. And importantly, it is actually the same for both the bird and the person. What a displacement vector does is it describes the total change in position, the absolute change in position, rather than accounting for every nook and cranny of the path you took to get there. So this bird and this person, while they have different distances that they travel, each have the same displacement vector. Why is it a vector? Well, if you consider the fact that we have both a magnitude, in this case, let's say that is 5 miles, because it is going to be shorter as we're traveling directly to the top of the mountain, and a direction. Let's say in this case, it's a 30-degree angle of elevation to get from the bottom to the top. So you also have a direction. Let's say 30 degrees elevation. Here, we have a vector, which means that it is displacement. We are describing displacement here. And that's the important thing to remember. This is a scalar quantity, whereas this is a vector quantity. Distance is a scalar, and displacement is a vector. Another important thing to note is that they may not describe the same thing technically, because in this example, both the bird and the person have the same displacement vector, but the distances they travel might be different. This is why it's important to go over this distinction rather than just saying that distance is a scalar, whereas displacement is a vector. If you have any questions about this topic, please feel free to let me know. Otherwise, I hope you have a good day.